Welcome to the Tivoli Tap House for the Coach's Corner, another edition here live. I'm John Kietzmann. I'm going to host with you, and I've got David Moreno alongside with me tonight. We've got a great show lined up. David, who's on the show tonight for us?
So we have softball coach Annie Van Wetzinga. We'll also talk to baseball coach Ryan Strain, and then we'll also talk to senior outfielder Sean Kennedy.
So we've got a full fun lineup lined up tonight. We've got great food, great beer on tap here at the Tivoli Tap House. But before we get into tonight's show, we got to recap what happened last week in Roadrunners athletics. We will start with the baseball team. The Roadrunners had a great weekend, sweeping Sioux Falls in their 3-game series at home. Javi Vega pitched an outstanding game in the opener, earning his second win of the season. Then the offense exploded for 31 runs in the final 2 games. The Roadrunners evened their record at 4-4 on the season. Donnie Ortiz Jr. led the offense, going 9 for 9 in the final 2 games, while scoring 9 runs and driving in 5.
The softball team was happy to be home after being on the road in the first 2 weekends of the new 2018 season. They took on Montana St-Billings for a quick 2-game set and would split with the Yellow Jackets this past Saturday. Sophomore Darby McGee pitched great, striking out 7 batters to earn her second win on the season. Game 1, while senior Kristen Peters blasted her 3rd home run on the year to put the offense up for a good 5-3 win.
It was just 1 game on the weekend for the men's and women's basketball teams. The women's team was able to get some revenge from earlier this season by defeating UCCS in Colorado Springs on Saturday. All 5 starters for the Roadrunners reached double figures in scoring. Senior Georgia Ordorf led the way with her 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. The win improves the team's record to 15-5 in the RMAC. The women's team is primed to host the first-round playoff game in the RMAC tournament.
The men's basketball team dropped their game against UC Colorado Springs on Saturday night. Cameron Williams piled up a career-high 38 points to lead the team, but it was not enough to defeat the Mountain Lions in the 88-81 loss. The Roadrunners have clinched a spot in the RMAC tournament. However, they still have a shot to host a first-round playoff game at the Auraria Event Center.
And anyone for tennis? The men's and women's tennis teams picked up some wins against RMAC rival Colorado Mesa. The men went 9-0 against the Mavericks and were led by the RMAC's preseason player of the year in Josh Grates. The senior went 6-0-6-1 against Colorado Mesa's top singles player, while his doubles match with teammate Joey Cherney resulted in an 8-3 victory at the #1 doubles position. The women's team defeated the Mavericks 7-2, including a 1-2-3 sweep in doubles play.
Finally, our indoor track and field team competed at the Air Force Open in Colorado Springs last weekend. Freshman Michael DK won the meet's 200-meter dash, finishing in a time of 22.16 seconds. He would also finish 3rd in the 60-meter dash. Redshirt freshman Jacob Link finished 2nd in the mile, while Saeed Moreno finished 3rd in both the 200 and 400-meter dashes. There were a lot of other great performances from the meet, and you can find them all at roadrunnersathletics.com.
At this point, we'd like to welcome to the show head softball coach Annie Van Wetzinga.
Hello.
Annie?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad you could come out on a snowy day.
Yeah, you bet.
You know, there's been a lot of changes out at softball this last year, a lot of rule changes for those that haven't seen some of the new things, especially with your first home game. So you now have 3 umpires out there. The foul poles are white. There's a whole lot of different things going on.
Yeah. Yeah, so our conference, we went to 3 umpires, which is what we see in the postseason whenever we go there. But in the past, we've only had 2, but we have a 3rd one out there, so it should hopefully help with some angles. It's a fast game, and it's tough when there's only two umps out there. So having a 3rd will help, hopefully, with those quick plays and having the good angles. And then, yeah, white foul poles now, which they just realized, I think, in 2018 we use a yellow ball, so maybe a white pole makes more sense, you know, versus a yellow pole. And then, yeah, there's been a couple other things. got told I have to take my smartwatch off during games because I might be getting secrets texted to me to my watch, which is obviously very important, especially at the D2 level.
Yeah, clearly some scouting going on.
Yes, absolutely. In-game secrets are important to watch out for. And obstruction is a really big emphasis this year. So, yeah.
Well, so speaking of secrets and knowing some things and scouting, let's talk a little bit about this last weekend in the home openers. Montana St-Billings, that first game that you took on, you faced a pitcher who had struck out 18 against Chadron State in the Dixie State tournament that you played in earlier this year. So going into the game,
I didn't realize that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Did you tell your team anything different?
No.
Didn't tell the hitters anything different?
I didn't tell them that. No. No, we honestly, and this is what we usually try to focus on, and we try to focus on like ourselves and controlling our type of play and kind of the way we approach the game. So we were just looking, just like every day, to try to get better. Especially, we had a really rough time out in Utah. Obviously, tough competition out there, but we didn't really perform to the level we wanted to. So I was happy. I think the first game on Saturday, the 5-3 win that we got was probably our best all-around game that we've played this year, which is nice. And it's nice we jumped out early, you know. So I think that automatically after Kristen Peters' 2-run home run, it kind of lifts some weight off your shoulders, which was nice.
Talking about that first game, Darby McGee pitched great. She earned her second win on the season. What did she do well to lead the team to the win? Because she was getting those strikeouts and hitting that other part of the plate.
Yeah. Strikeouts help, definitely. I think it was 7 strikeouts. Yeah. Those help. She was sharp, you know. She didn't have to. She didn't give them a lot of free bases with walks or hit batters and things like that. She pitched out of a lot of jams. It's a tough offense. Like I said, they're really aggressive and they swing hard. So, you know, you make a mistake, the ball will probably travel far. And so she was able to attack really well. And I think that attacking mode led to her strikeouts. And I think also, again, us jumping ahead for that lead helps relieve a lot of pressure on the pitcher when your offense can give you some runs right away.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about that pitching staff that you have. Darby being your senior-most pitcher as a sophomore. Is there any special approach that you take with her as a leader of the pitching staff now? Because she is only in her second year.
Yeah, we've talked to her about that. Because we've talked to her about having more of a presence on the mound. She's kind of soft-spoken individual and quiet, but we told her on the field you got to kind of have more of a presence about yourself, and we have told her you need to be our leader right now. You're kind of our number one option.
You talked about Kristen Peters and her early home run. It's her third on the season. She looks to be healthy after struggling with injuries the past couple of years. How is she looking early on in this season?
Yeah, Kristen has a lot of power, a lot of natural pop off her bat. She has really quick hands through the zone. I think, and she's definitely a lot healthier than she has been in the past, which is huge. And so we're just kind of looking for her to settle in and become more consistent with that power. Not necessarily home runs, but just more, whether it's doubles, more RBIs, things like that. I think she can continue to, as she settles in and gets those reps, be more consistent with it, and I think then you'll see the power numbers continue to increase also.
So game one, obviously great win, 5-3, get the victory. Game two doesn't go your way, but you have a freshman on the mound in game two in Destiny Lopez. And we talked a little about what you do with Darby and how you've led her through some leadership stuff. With a freshman on the mound, do you take a different approach, or how do you attack that?
Well, we do a little bit, but at the same time, like, Darby kind of had the advantage, you know, or luxury to be behind two senior pitchers last year. So she didn't necessarily have to be thrown to the wolves right away. Destiny and Kylie, our transfer pitcher, we both were like, hey, we need you to step up. We need you to perform. And so we as a staff kind of have to understand it is going to be a learning curve at times. And so as Destiny is going through these games, we're kind of talking to her about like little areas she could improve on, and she has started to improve and take those steps. I think for her it's settling in and kind of finding her rhythm and way through the season and on the team.
Well, Coach, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with us here on a Monday evening. And
no other place I'd rather be on a Monday.
And why wouldn't you?
Absolutely not.
Now, I know you're a big fan of community service, and that takes us to our tweet of the week.
It's a big pillar.
Yeah, the tweet of the week. It's going to come from the men's basketball team and their trip out to see some Special Olympics athletes here this last weekend. The event took place at Colorado School of Mines, and a few of the Roadrunners and the coaching staff helped coach some 5-on-5 basketball games while also putting the kids through a quick 15-minute clinic. Dribbling, passing, rebounding, and more. So a big shout out to the men's team for their community work at this event. And now we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to head baseball coach Ryan Strain here on the Coach's Corner.
I'm Anthony Grant, Director of Athletics at MSU Denver.
It's because of your generosity and support that our athletic programs have been able to achieve sustained success and continue to be one of the top athletic departments in the nation.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner here live from the Tivoli Tap House, where there's always great food and great beer. And we want to make sure that you're up to speed with all the fun events that happen down here at the Tap House. And we've got some fun ones lined up here for you coming up. First off, we've got the MSU Denver Masters Department. They're going to start hosting a trivia contest on Tuesday, February 27th. It'll go from 5 to 7 p.m. with 3 unique rounds and formats so that you can just come and go as you please. There will be prizes and, of course, amazing beer available from the Tivoli Tap House. So make your way to the Tap House for some trivia on Tuesday, February 27th. And at this time, we're now joined by head baseball coach Ryan Strain. Ryan, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I talked to Annie a little bit earlier about 3 umpires on the field now for softball. For Division II, for the RMAC, 3 umpires is new, but being a Division I guy, 3 umpires, that's the same old hat for you.
Yeah, it's just the same way it's always been. I mean, I've been used to it. No, and I'll be honest, I can't imagine what it was like just with 2 umpires. But, no, I mean, it's been good. I mean, you know, I think they're getting used to the 3-man crew for the first time, and, you know, hopefully it'll continue to be good.
You took on Sioux Falls for 3 games this past weekend. On Friday, your veteran pitcher, Javi Vega, went out there and shut down the Cougars. Talk about his performance and how it set the tone for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing on, you know, coming into the 3rd weekend, you know, and we hadn't pitched the way I think our guys thought that they could, and same with Javi. I mean, he had 2, you know, starts that I don't think he was happy with. So coming into this 3rd one, it was a big start for him to get things going for us on Friday night, and he pitched really well. I mean, that's the Javi Vega that I'd seen since I got here in August, and he really pitched the ball well. He kept the ball down, changed speeds, and let our defense play, and so he set the stone for, or set it for the rest of the week.
So you had a good pitching performance from Javi to start the series, but the leadoff home run from Sean Kennedy set it kind of offensively there, what was going to be to come. You know, he had been batting in the number 5 position pretty much all of last year. Now this year, you have him in the leadoff spot. Is there something that clicked with you that said, hey, let's move him to number 1? Yeah,
a couple people had asked me that. Where all of a sudden was he in the 1 spot? And to be honest with you, he was going to start in the 1 spot going into the first game, but he got hurt his rib about 10 days before the first game, and so he didn't see a live pitch until the day before our first game. And so when we went into it, you know, we wanted to split up the left-handed hitters, and so between him and Logan Sewell, you know, one of them was going to be in the 1, one was going to be in the 5, with Trent being in the 3 hole. So, you know, that's kind of the way that we started, and then, you know, just kind of moved him back into that spot and put Logan in the 5 spot to drive in some runs. And you know, the one thing about Sean is he competes his tail off, and he's going to get on base, and he makes it tough on the pitchers. So, you know, to have to face him first in a game and to get him as many at-bats as we possibly could, I think was a good decision by us, and it paid off this weekend.
You had great pitching on Friday. The offense really came alive the next couple of games. You guys scored a combined 31 runs out of 40 hits in those 2 games. Did something click in practice, or did these few hits end up being contagious for everyone on the team?
Yeah, I think hitting's contagious. I think after Friday night, I think our players would tell you I wasn't real happy with the offensive performance. I just didn't think that we came in and competed for all 27 outs. I just felt like we kind of knew we had the lead. Javi pitched well, and we kind of just didn't enough to win. And I told him, I said, if we're going to continue to grow and get a better team throughout the season, we can't give away at bats. And, hopefully they took that to heart. We talked about it on Saturday morning. We had another talk about it on, kind of what our expectations were and some of the things that I thought we could do better on the weekend. And, fortunately they put a lot of those together, and they strung a lot of good at-bats together. I think we had 40 hits, like you said, in those 2 games, and we had a lot of loud outs. There wasn't a lot of cheap hits, and most of the outs that they got, we hit the ball pretty well. There was very few weak outs that we had, and I thought we battled to play with 2 strikes and made them make plays. And so overall, those 2 days were about as good a hitting performance that I've ever been a part of for a 2-day stretch.
So, Coach, injuries are never a fun thing to talk about, but on Saturday you suffer a loss with Cale O'Donnell going out, and he's going to be out for an indeterminate amount of time at this point. And he's such a big part of the lineup, both in offensively and defensively, and then he's your closer. So, I'm sure that had an impact on the team at some point. What did you tell the team from a production standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, when you lost Cale?
Yeah, after the game finished, we talked about it. There were some emotional guys. Our team's very close. A lot of these guys have played together for several years, and Cale's such a big a part of the team, not just offensively, like you said, but he's also one of our closers and pitches for us. And, just a hard worker, kid that's, in his 5th year, doing everything they ask him, and then just to have a fluke injury like that is tough, So I told the team, we're going to find out what's going on with Cale. We'll try to get him back, but, somebody's going to step up. We have other good players. Guys have been working hard, and, Dylan Nelson was able to get in there and play first base, and felt confident with him going in there. But, there's no question. When you lose somebody like Cale that's, a first-team all-conference type player, there's going to be a little bit of a change with that. But, hopefully we're going to be able to get Cale back in a month or so and get him back into the lineup. But until that point, these other guys are going to have to step up, and they did last night. I think Dylan had a couple hits, and Aaron Germani got in there as well, started, and he did a real nice job too. So it's great as a coach to know, even if some of those guys that have been in the lineup, for the majority of the games, those guys will be able to come in and step in and have big roles and help us win.
Well, and speaking of that, one of your big offensive production guys, Trent Maloney, had 2 home runs there on Sunday in that game after Cale goes down, and he's clearly somebody that you're going to have to lean on going forward.
Yeah, he did a tremendous job on Sunday. We ended up talking Sunday morning before the game, and just about a couple of small adjustments. He knows his swing. He has a good swing. There's just a few things that the coaching staff saw him doing, and we talked about that, and he made some adjustments in batting practice on Sunday, and that's the great thing about having a great hitter. You can tell him a couple things. He can make an adjustment, and a few rounds of BP before the game starts, and then goes out and swings the bat that well. So, but he just, as he keeps going, he's, that's the reason why he's in our 3-hole. He's a great hitter, and he's going to be fine. He was getting some hits before, but it wasn't the Trent that we had seen all year, and that, what we saw on Sunday, is what he's capable of.
There's probably no one in the league hotter than Donnie Ortiz Jr. right now. He 9 for 9 in his last 9 official at-bats. Have you seen anything like this from him? Because it seems like Donnie is a humble kid who isn't overwhelmed at the moment.
Yeah, Donnie's got one of those things that's very simple. He's always in a position to hit. He always battles, and during the fall, he had a tremendous fall. And that's why we put him in the 2-hole, because he handles the bat. He doesn't strike out. He competes up there. But he always gives himself a chance. So, to say somebody's going to be 9 for 9 with a walk and beyond 10 times in a row, you don't see that very often. But the way he swings the bat, if I was going to say there was 2 guys who would be capable of doing that, he would be one of those guys that I think can do that. And, he gives us a chance at the top of the lineup to do some different things. And it really, if him and Sean can get on base, those guys behind him are pretty good hitters. They're going to be able to drive them in. So they were on base all weekend, and that's why we scored so many runs.
Well, Coach, thank you for taking the time. We want to make sure we give some time to that leadoff man, Sean Kennedy, when we come back here.
Sounds good.
So we're going to come back and talk to outfielder Sean Kennedy right here on the Coach's Corner.
Everything's gonna be just fine. Little darling, you keep on walking, 'cause I ain't never gonna leave your side.
As kids fall in love with sports, our universities are working every day to keep college sports safe, so you can watch them play with a little less worry and a little more joy.
I pledge.
I pledge. I pledge.
Here at MSU Denver.
To stop sexual harassment.
To identify situations
in which sexual assault may occur.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
It's on us.
All of us.
To get a friend home safely.
It's on us to be a part of the solution.
And not part of the problem.
Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
I'm Janae Squires-Horton, senior guard for the women's basketball team.
Squires-Horton swishes the long two, and it's a 3-point lead.
When you're watching the Coach's Corner, get rowdy.
Nice. I'm Georgia Ordorf, senior forward for the women's basketball team.
And now it's Georgia Ordorf driving to the rim and gets another easy layup.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Welcome back here to the Coach's Corner. We've got a fun one here for you. We've already had Annie Van Wetzinga, Ryan Strain, and we're about to get to Sean Kennedy. But before we do that, we want to talk a little shopmsudenver.com. So shopmsudenver.com. That's where you can get all of your Roadrunners athletics merchandise. Go on there, get yourself a hoodie, some shorts, or maybe you're looking for just some drinkware. So whatever you're looking for, shopmsudenver.com. That's where you're going to find your action at. So now we are joined here by Sean Kennedy. Sean, good to have you on board.
Good to be here.
You know, Sean, 3-game sweeps, they're fun. It's nice to win everything, right? I'm sure there was some momentum and some excitement in the locker room after the 3-game sweep.
Oh, you betcha. I mean, winning is the best.
Winning is
Can't
fun.
Beat it.
You've got to deal with a few things this year in your senior season. Blech. You now have a new head coach in Ryan Strain. What have you seen from him thus far that gets you excited to play under him?
Oh, gosh. I remember the first day in interviews seeing with Coach Strain, and I just remember from day one, I remember walking out of that interview going, he's the coach. Like, before they made the decision, anything, I was like, this guy has the passion, the fire, he's got the knowledge. I mean, he brings everything to the table. I am blessed to play for him. It's an awesome experience. Like, he comes out every day, and he's just so knowledgeable with what he does. He's got a fire. He's just got an energy and a love for the game that's it's different than any coach I've really ever played under, and so that's really cool for me. And just his experience with the game, he's just got so many just little tricks that just kind of bring the best out of you.
So, Sean, you know, Ryan, when you talk to him, he is about as even keel as they get. But clearly, he knows what he's doing. He puts you in the leadoff position. So, what did he say anything to you? Or did he give you any tips or hints or say, hey, this is what we expect out of you now that we're moving you from the 5 to the 1?
No. I mean, like preseason and everything, I was kind of leading off the whole way. And then kind of the start of the season, I ended up at the 5 role, and it was just kind of, you got to hit in the spot, you know, whatever. And then just when I think it was Sewell got thrown out for that one game, and then just put me in the 1 spot. And I mean, I was just kind of comfortable from there because I've been doing it the whole preseason and whatnot. So there wasn't anything different. It was just kind of.
Well, leadoff home run clearly did okay.
Yeah, I mean.
This series, you had multiple hits in every game. You're batting an incredible .556 on the season. How big does that baseball look for you right now?
I guess like a beach ball. I mean, just swinging it.
It is a beach ball looking thing, right? Like, you're just connecting from way deep at this point.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just go up there, try and put a good swing on the ball and see where it goes.
That's about as even as a baseball player is going to get. It's the every time I go up, I'm going to take a swing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one thing that I wanted to touch base on is that you were a wrestler at one point. I know I've read and heard. So was wrestling always in the future, or baseball, or what was your real passion? I mean, did you just say, hey, baseball's given me the best option to play in college, so I'm going that route, or are you really a wrestler at heart?
It was always baseball. Baseball was my first love ever since I could walk. I was a self-made, when I was 1, my parents never pushed baseball on me. I just saw it on TV, and I was like, that's for me, apparently. Like, I've just always loved baseball, and then my dad got me into wrestling when I was young, and it was just kind of like that thing I did to bridge the gap between baseball season to baseball season, you know. And so it was more my conditioning period for baseball. So it was always just wrestling leading to like strength and conditioning.
Baseball was always the one at heart.
Baseball was the dream.
That's perfect.
So it says on your bio at roadrunnersathletics.com that you were majoring in psychology here at MSU Denver. What do you want to do with that degree when you graduate?
Actually, I changed my major from psychology to business because I thought I wanted to be a doctor in psychology, maybe like a therapist or something like that, or sports psych. And then I realized I still have the passion for psychology, just I didn't want to deal with people's problems, I guess. So I realized I didn't really have the patience for that. So just switched to business. Not sure exactly what I want to do with that. Maybe start a business. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see where that takes me when the time comes. But
well, Sean, I was a business major, so you're going to be in just fine company. So.
Heck yeah.
But psychology and baseball, they fit so well, and with that kind of little bit of lead that you have there with it, it really is a mental game. And I know that we talked a little bit about Coach Strain too when Cale O'Donnell went down and what that impact has on the team. And I'm sure that puts a little bit of pressure on you as a fellow senior to perform now and to do well, not just for the team, but now for Cale also.
Yeah, I think Cale going down definitely hurts, but we got plenty of guys in reserve to pick up his slack, and it always hurts when you lose an all-region guy, but I think we've got the pieces that'll pick up some slack for him, and at least until he can get back, hopefully. And we got some great guys in there, and they'll do just as good of a job.
Well, Sean, we're expecting some great things. I think there's a lot of baseball yet to be played, and we're glad that you joined us here tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So before we kick out here, we're going to hit the upcoming schedule for Roadrunners Athletics because we've got a number of things happening here this week. First up this week is the monthly Roadrunner Luncheon that will be held at Brooklands right next door to the Pepsi Center. It kicks off at 12 noon, and for only $10, you get a great meal and a chance to hang out with the coaches and the student athletes that are in season. Also this week, the indoor track and field teams will compete in the RMAC Championships for a chance to bring home some hardware to MSU Denver. The squad will head to Golden, Colorado and compete on Friday the 23rd and Saturday the 24th. Keep up with the team at roadrunnersathletics.com.
Sean and his baseball team will head to Lubbock, Texas to take on the Chaps from Lubbock Christian for a 4-game series. Game 1 will take place on Thursday at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. There will be a doubleheader on Friday starting at 1 p.m. and the finale taking place on Saturday at noon. The softball team is also on the road and will take on the Thunderwolves of CSU Pueblo. It will be a 4-game series with doubleheaders on Saturday and Sunday.
And finally, the men's and women's basketball team will be back home to wrap up the RMAC regular season. Colorado Christian will come to the Auraria Event Center on Friday, with the women's game starting at 5 p.m. and the men's game tipping off at 7:30. Comcast CET will be there to broadcast all the action. The regular season finale will put Colorado Mines against the Roadrunners on Saturday night. There is a major playoff seeding here at stake, and both teams are going to be in it to win it. So don't miss a single basket as the Roadrunners head to the playoffs. So as we wrap up here tonight, we'd like to thank all of our guests, head coach Annie Van Wetzinga, head coach Ryan Strain, Sean Kennedy. I'd like to thank David Moreno and Eric Lansing for running the show behind the scenes tonight. We're going to be back here next week live from the Coach's Corner.